Welcome to the Fashion Department, a podcast that will explore the world of fashion and how it informs all aspects of life, from dress and lifestyle to food and travel. And now, let me introduce you to your fabulous host, Tina Bercoli, a Greenwich, Connecticut-based wardrobe stylist and radio show personality with over 20 years in the fashion industry. Tina will share her take on style, trends, the business of fashion, and on being grateful. And now, here's your host.
Hi, friends. I'm Tina. Welcome to the Fashion Department, the best, newest podcast out there. I'm joined by my fabulous, fashionable friend, Cole Clemens. Hi, Cole.
Hi, Tina.
Just to give you a little background, I'm a personal stylist. I have my own business, independent personal styling business. And I've been in the business for, about 26 years now and doing lots of different styling gigs. I also have a great radio show, and now we've taken this show on the road, and we've got this podcast, which I hope you'll all enjoy. And my co-host today is Cole. He's been a stylist for over a decade in the industry. I want to call you everything. I want to call you an influencer, content creator, shoe guru, stylist. Oh my gosh, what else?
Socialite.
Socialite, my fashion cohort, my sidekick. We love to play fashion police wherever we go, and we kind of critique people. And also my friend for over a decade. So,
oh my gosh.
Yes. So welcome, Cole. I love that we're doing this together.
Oh, me too.
Together, we're going to chat about all things fashionable, and we've got lots of fun segments in the show coming up in later podcasts, things like business of fashion. We're going to talk lots of trends, of course. Our segment called Stylist on the Street is something I hope people will love. That's basically me and Cole chatting about what we like and what we see and what we think is up and coming. Our scoop du jour is always like the newest, the latest, what's happening. And of course, a new segment I'm going to add called Fashion 911. That's when it's like, honey, you need to call us. All right. So, Cole, I wanted to start it off with basically telling the listeners how we met, because this is a good story. Do you want me to go first and then you go?
Yes. Okay. Go for it.
All right. So, like I said, over a decade, over at least 10 years ago, Cole, I was in LA. I was traveling to LA quite a bit for work and pleasure as well. So I would cram all my work days into like Monday to Wednesday. And then like Wednesday night or Thursday morning, I was on a plane to LA, and I would spend like 4 days out there, sometimes 5, and come back and do it all again in a few weeks. So I was doing that, and my husband was also with me. He was working as well. We don't work together, so he had his work thing going on. So there would be chunks of time when I was waiting for, basically by myself in LA, and waiting for my husband to get off work so we could go to dinner or whatever. And I had a few contacts in LA, but mostly everybody was working during the middle of the day if you don't work for yourself and make your own schedule. So I was going kind of checking out local shops just to know what's what, if I needed to pull something. And I went to Gregory's, right, Cole?
Yes.
Yeah. I went into a store called Gregory's, which was a incredible, I don't even know if it's still there. I'm guessing it's still there. It's a shoe store. I think it is, yeah. It was at Fred Siegel. So anybody familiar with LA knows that name. It's a big name. And it was a fabulous shoe store with really good, such a good buy. All different types of things. It's a little something for everybody. So I walk into the store, and now this is probably, it had to have been cold out, I'm thinking, because it doesn't get very cold in LA. You know where I'm going with this? And I had a jacket on. So this jacket was Helmut Lang, and it was I would describe it as a fall jacket. Here on the East Coast, I'd wear that October, and that's about it. So it had leather sleeves, and then the middle of it was fur. And so almost looked like I was wearing a fur vest, because the sleeves were black leather. The middle of it was fur, and it had this asymmetrical zip that went from my right hip up to my left shoulder. And when it zipped up, it had this huge funnel collar type of thing that kind of sort of around your neck. Very cool, very avant-garde. So I was wearing this jacket, and I walk into the store, Gregory's, and I'm looking at shoes, and there's no one in the store, by the way. There's a few salespeople I see out of the corner of my eye, and someone says hello. A girl says hello, and then I hear a voice coming from the other side of the store. And I think I may have had like a shoe in my hand, a big, huge, like 6-inch platform shoe in my hand looking. And I heard, "Is that Helmut Lang?" from across the store. And I slowly turned around, like knowing that the person was talking to me because there was no one else in the store. And I said, "Yes, it is." And there is Cole, like a ray of light coming towards me with this huge ball of energy. I mean, he's just like going, "I love that jacket. If you ever want to sell it, I'll buy it." And this is how we meet. And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
It wasn't that you had me at hello. You had me at Helmut Lang.
So that became our little tagline is "You had me at Helmet." Yeah. So that's basically how we met. And then I don't know if that's how you saw this whole scenario go down, but that was my vision. That was my recollection.
Absolutely. And then I think the follow-up, the really funny story after that is you came back and we really got to hang out, just you and I. And you texted me and you're like, "Are you at the store?" I'm like, "No, I called out sick." And then immediately I'm like, "Oh, do you want to go get drinks?"
So we met, we swapped numbers. He was like, "Whatever you need," basically for business purposes. If you're in town and you need something, because I spent some time in the store, the first initial visit. And then, it was like 3 weeks later, maybe a month later, I was back in town and I thought, I should check and see if he's there, meaning to go purchase stuff. And I texted and I thought, and I don't normally do that. I wouldn't normally I don't really know this person. I'm always a little shy. But I did. I texted you and said, "Hey, are you at the store?" And you said, "No, I called out sick. Sorry." And I immediately was like, "Oh, no problem. No worries." Was thinking like, "Oh, I'll just mosey on." And literally the next text I got was, "Do you want to meet for lunch?" And I was like, "Well, I guess you're not that sick." And I went, "Sure." Well, then that lunch,
Lord.
we kind of, how should we say it? We just made a day of it, and it turned into a day drinking day. And we bonded over many cocktails at the Abbey. If anyone knows the Abbey, you know where we're going with this. Great spot in LA, lots of people watching, fun hangout. And it became, and then suddenly it was like 5:00. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm completely buzzed. I need to meet my husband for dinner. I need to get back to the hotel. Like, I have to sober up quickly."
And these high platforms on, like.
Huge. Teetering. I was teetering. Huge gold Charlotte Olympia platforms on, yes. And I'm literally like teetering. I'm the best drunk walker ever. Not that I shouldn't be proud of that, but I am. And so that was our first quote unquote date. So, by the way, if you haven't guessed by now, Cole is like my gusband, and I say gusband with a G. So if you haven't figured that out yet. So yes, that was how we met. And it's been a wonderful ride ever since, right?
It was love at first sight, babe.
Yes, yeah. And now Cole lives here on the East Coast. He lives in New York City, and is I don't want to get this wrong. Do you want to talk about what you do?
I used to assistant buy for a new luxury boutique that opened up during the pandemic a year ago. But now I more so do lead sales, lead styling, lead personal shopping, and I would also say curation. So that's like my title now. It kind of shifted, but I got to get a chance at buying, which was really great because I wanted to try something new. And then we needed somebody else to take over. And now I'm just, I'm in people's faces all the time, actually doing what I do best and what I love to do best.
Absolutely. So. And by the way, I just want to say to listeners, Cole has got this incredible portfolio of high-end retail sales. He's, worked for Nordstrom. He worked, like I said, Fred Siegel, and now the boutique in the city. But Cole, it's not just about where you're working and what you're doing. If you need something, Cole's your guy. Like, even for me personally, obviously we're friends, but I feel like even if we weren't, Cole has scoured the ends of the earth for things. If you need, he will get you. And I want to quick give your Instagram handle out now so people can go ahead and look you up and follow along.
Yeah, let me give the professional one. It's Curated by Coley, Coley. So Curated by Coley.
That's the one. Yeah, your professional one. The one that shows like what you do and kind of a little bit of how you're curating it, because it's really fabulous. And you're extremely talented. Okay, so that's us in a nutshell. And Cole's going to be my co-host in upcoming episodes for sure. I hope you'll be a regular here at the fashion department. And going forward, we'll certainly tell more stories. We have lots of stories to tell. But I want to get into the heart of why we're here, talk about all things fashionable. And I want to talk about summer trends since we are in the midst of summer. And a couple of things that I've noticed, often trends roll into the next season. So I think it's important to kind of talk about them. When I say trends, sometimes, people have a visceral reaction sometimes to the word trend. So let me say this. As a stylist, when I'm working with a client, I don't shoot straight for, here's what's trendy. That's not a conversation I have with someone. And probably either unless they bring it up or maybe further down the line as we get to know each other. I always start with the base layer, and I always feel it's important. It's like building a house. You've got to start with a good foundation, and a good foundation means solid staples in your closet. So before we ever even can talk trends. However, you'll hear me discuss trends here on the show because it's fun and it's exciting. It's fun learning about what's new. So I'm sure you'd agree with me, Cole. It's you got to have the staple closet. You got to have the wardrobe, the base layers, which we'll get to that too in further shows. But for now, I want to talk about some fun things. Summer trends. One big thing I've noticed, even last spring into the summer, was the return of color, which I'm so happy. Okay, let's think back just a few seasons ago. It was all about beige, and it was neutrals. And we can thank the Kardashians, especially, for promoting that. Look, it's great for most, but I love to wear color. Cole, you love to wear color. I think color evokes emotion, and at the end of the day, I had on a yellow dress the other day. Bright yellow, like sunshine yellow. And I walked into a store and the girl said to me, I love your dress. And then she said, I love this. I love the whole look. And I said, you know what? It's a bright color. It makes me feel better. It just makes me feel happy. It changes my mood. And she said, I completely agree. I mean, and I always use this example with my clients. There's a reason why a dentist office, let's say, or a doctor's office isn't usually painted bright red or hot pink, right? There's a reason. There's also a reason why, let's say, a children's store is probably not going to be beige. So that would be the opposite. A place like a library or a post office or a medical building or a professional building, we're not going to see, bright yellow walls or bright pink furniture. But a restaurant or a club or a lounge, we might see these pops of color. So it evokes emotion. And obviously, then there's sort of a time and a place for a certain color. And I think that's important because you don't realize how that plays on your subconscious.
Yeah, and the vibration that you give off, and the vibration that's felt when you wear that thing too, and how that makes you feel.
And then on top of that, I always say to all of my clients that anyone can wear any color. Because, of course, I hear right away I don't look in this. I don't look good in this. I don't look in this. I can't wear red.
Resistance.
Total resistance. I can't wear green. I can't wear yellow. I can't wear color. Yes, you can. You just have to find the right shade. So I'll tell another quick story. When I was in college, I was studying architecture, interior design, not fashion. That's another I took the circuitous route to get to my profession.
That's so crazy. I wanted to go to college for that, and then I never did. Whoa,
really?
Tina, you.
How did I
can't.
not know this? Oh my god,
this is so bizarre.
Yeah.
Okay,
brother from another mother. Anyway, so one of my classes was about color, and we had to paint. We had to use paint first of all, a scale of whites, and the instructor's like, I need 26 shades of white. And I was like, what? What? Am I Benjamin Moore? What's going on? So I had to, and that's where we started. And then we had to do other colors. But I literally had to make the purest of white, which is the absence of color, and then add a little black and, add a little of this and really make this scale of 20. And believe it or not, when I got done, I think I had 26 shades. I probably could have had another 26 shades of white because depending on which direction you would go, darker, lighter, cooler, warmer. So I use that example to tell people there's so many different shades of every single color. There's a warm version, there's a cool version. And I think yellow is a great example. Think of mustard yellow, think of like sunflower yellow or school bus yellow. Very different.
Very different.
And then therefore you can wear whatever. So the return of color, I'm seeing a ton of pink. As my one friend calls it Jacquemus pink. Well,
Jacquemus pink.
Yes, they did do a lot of pink, but they didn't create the color, honey.
No.
She loves to call it that. Green, lots of green, that bright green, lavender, and yellow. Those are probably the ones I see the most of. And I love, and I'll say this, here's what, people to say, well, I can't wear pink or I can't wear green. You don't have to wear it head to toe. You can dip your toe in by wearing it in a pattern. You can also always wear it with a neutral. So that'll kind of ground it. So for example, if you've got that bright green that's hot right now that we're seeing everywhere from Prada to H&M, Zara, you could wear it with like a charcoal gray that will ground it. You could wear it with navy blue that will ground it and it won't be so, right? Yeah. What colors are you seeing for this summer?
Well, I was just going to piggyback on that like literally we've gone back to the quote unquote office, either if you are or you're not. And we were reaching for the highlighters on the desk because everything is like these highlighter neon colors and it's just fantastic. These cold pops, these vibrant hues. And if you have a staple or a grounded color base, if you don't want to do from head to toe, obviously like what Tina's saying is spot on, break it up. If it's too much, start small and then work your way through. I think it's like dating. Like if you're not that comfortable with the color and you want to get there and you're curious about it, then maybe we could do a full-blown Valentino.
Start with a coffee date.
And work your way down.
Yeah, so, know that deal. You know the deal. Now, Cole is single, by the way. I hope you don't mind me saying that. So, and I am not, but we, sometimes I live vicariously through Cole's social life. Sometimes he might live vicariously through my married life. Anyway, so you're right. It's kind of like dating. It's like, oh, okay, I see this person. I like them, but I don't know. So maybe we meet for coffee because you can't commit to the full-blown dinner or we're out, right? So agree. So colors, think of it as like you're starting. Maybe it's just a lip color. Maybe it's just a nail color.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's just a little scarf in the hair. Maybe it's a necklace. Maybe it's a shoe. At the end of the day, I think it's about taking chances because life's short and this is just fashion. And when I say just fashion, it's not that serious. And I think Cole would agree. It's like,
it's just fun. You have to have fun with it. Fun.
Right. All right, moving on. So next on my list, the glass slipper trend. I just love saying this. I love saying this. So this is basically a lucite heel. That's all it is, but we're calling it the glass slipper trend. And there have been certain brands that are doing this full blown. Cole can speak to this. One of them, my favorite, Mock and Mock, is great. Do I own? No, I don't own any of these. Not that I wouldn't wear it. I just don't love it for me at this point where I am in my fashion journey, if that makes any sense at all. I'm sure once upon a time, I owned glass slipper heels. So again, it's just a clear see-through. It's not actual glass, lucite. Now let me say this. It is not a stripper heel because I know people are thinking that in their head. It's not. It's a more demure, sophisticated looking heel. Cole, do you want to talk about that trend and what we're seeing and the brands that are doing it?
Absolutely. And also I would say also have a nice pedicure when you're wearing this because everything is completely see-through. So
good points. OMG. Good point.
And people shouldn't be afraid of their feet. I think people have beautiful feet. And, you and I both come from a dance background. I've always been around feet. So, flaunt it if you want to. And that it's there. It's very modern. It's a very airy, light approach to the shoe world. Amina Mawadi is a huge, huge advocate of the lucite heel and her signature heel itself. Yeah. And I would also say
this is all over social media too. I think most people may have seen this. And describe it. It's like a pointy toe, that specific brand.
And
right?
usually it can be done with a closed toe pump. It's all clear around, all like transparent in different colors now. Or what it's really known for is like the sling back. I think it's the Bejoum or the Rosie with the bow, her buckle. And then it's got this like almost flipped upside down golf tee stand as the heel. Yeah.
So it's very sculptural.
It is. It's art.
It's art. It's beautiful. And most of these shoes with the clear heels, they're not super high. They're maybe, 3 inches? 4
Yeah,
inches,
3
maybe?
inches, 3.5, maybe.
Three and a half. And they're, like you said, sometimes open toe, but sometimes closed toe, pointy with crystals on them or bows on them. Very dainty. Think like Dorothy or like tea garden, going to a high tea or something, or rose garden. I'm thinking very girly situation. That's what most of these shoes look like. And of course, there's knockoffs of everything. So you'll see all this. I know Steve Madden does a lot of knockoffs. So
absolutely,
if the price point, you want to try it. You don't want to spend a lot. I always suggest going with a lower price point if it's something you're interested in. But it's very pretty. And I would pair this with a skirt or a dress or something, but even trousers. But you
like
want
a
to make
trouser.
Cropped, because you want to make sure you see the shoe.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Love it. All right, next on my list are, I love this one, crocheted pieces.
Ooh.
So crocheted, I'll say this. This isn't new. This is a couple seasons now we're seeing this. In the beginning, I was like, oh, I don't know about this. This is gives me granny vibes. I don't know.
Rocking chair.
But guess what? I am here for it because I love a good challenge.
Yes.
Right? So how are you going to wear a crocheted piece, let's say sweater or dress or skirt, without looking like, oh, your grandma just knitted it for it? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it could look dated or it could look weird, just weird, right? So I think it's about the silhouette. Yes. And I think it's obviously about how you style it. So I have a few granny pieces, as I like to call them. And let me tell you, every time I wear them, I get so many compliments. Strangely enough, it's mostly from gay guys now that I realized it. But hey, these are my people. So,
I love it.
Yeah, I have one. It's like a shawl cardigan. It's kind of long. It's almost like a robe. It wraps across and ties. And it's like a long cardigan. I wear it over leggings and sneakers. Done. It makes it so I'm not like in leggings and athleisure wear. It kind of zhuzhes it up. I could easily put a little suede boot on with it for the winter. It's definitely more a fall winter piece. And then I do have another piece that I'm wearing now. It's a cropped little sweater, I guess, and it's black and white, and it has a little bow tie, so it's great, like just over my shoulders, or I could actually put it on. Great over a little black dress. Great, so you're going to a wedding, you're going to a bar mitzvah, you're going somewhere where you want to cover your shoulders, or it might be chilly or air conditioned. This is the perfect piece, as opposed to a stinking pashmina, which those have died and gone to the pashmina cemetery. So wear this. I always say a little leather biker jacket I love over like a little black dress. But this is another option. Little granny, it's a nod to the trend. So
absolutely.
Everything else needs to be beautiful and modern and current, right? Would you agree?
Yes. And I've seen the cropped version of these with a high-waisted pant, and it's so like modern and chic. And I can see you now like rocking this.
Yeah.
But it's awesome. It's like old, new, mixed back to new. It's like
And that's what we're seeing that more and more. I was just going to say it's the everything, and we're going to talk about this actually in the next episode of what's coming, what's now, and what's coming. And so much of it is, like you said, what's old is new, and old and then new again. It's kind of we're not reinventing the wheel. It's kind of like upgrading the wheel over and over. And I love that. Because we are leaning more towards hopefully becoming more sustainable and that sort of thing. Also from economic side, getting more bang for your buck out of what you're buying, right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Also on my list, heart be still, platform shoes. Cole knows. So, listeners, if you haven't ever heard my radio show, you're going to hear me talk here on the podcast over and over and over and over again, because my absolute numero uno shoe silhouette is a platform. I will rock a platform all day long. There's a joke in my family that I'm allergic to flats. I think I really am, because I think I almost like break out in hives when I wear flats. I hate them. I can't stand them. However, I love them on other people. No offense. Just on me, it makes me feel like a gnome. And I'm just like,
there's a story about that between you and I.
Yes, there is. We'll save that for the next episode.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yes. And so I just cannot wear a flat. I have to be in a heel. Even my sneakers are platform sneakers, right? As Cole can attest. So.
Absolutely. It's your signature. And like in the heel world, it's one step closer to heaven, baby. That's what I always say.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Taller. Listen, I'm vertically challenged. So, and by the way, I've come to embrace that. I really like the fact because I can then wear big heels. Where some of my friends that are a little taller, they say, "Oh, well, I can't wear a 6-inch heel. I'll be taller than my husband," and they don't like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they don't like that. I personally don't want to tower over my husband either. I would be weird. I don't know. So yes, I can comfortably wear, and it just changes your perspective, makes you feel a little better. I don't know. I feel glamorous when I'm in heels. You
can see further down the street.
That's right. I can see more options in the store when I'm shopping.
Yes.
I have such a good, So platform shoes are back, and I hate to say this, but for me, they never go away. For me, this is what I mean when I say trends. I use the term lightly. So let me say this. I don't think I mentioned this. When I say trends to my clients, I will always say, for me, a trend just means it's something that is now more accessible. Right? So in other words, let's take platform shoes. Okay, they're not new. They're from the 70s. They've come back and forth and back and forth. They were big when I was a teenager, then they went back, or maybe in my 20s, then they went back out. Now they're back again every so often. So they're not new. So it's technically, is it a trend? Well, I guess technically, but it's really something that just becomes more accessible. So if you like platform heels or whatever, and they work for you, now you're going to find more of them available. And that's all that the trend means, as opposed to when it's not on trend, quote unquote, okay, it might be a little harder to find. So that's really all it means. It doesn't mean you have to wear them. It doesn't mean, well, you're not in fashion or not trendy if you don't wear them. It just means something becomes more accessible. And there's going to be, nowadays, everyone seems to do everything. So you can take something and you'll find it at every single price point from, and I always use the example, Bergdorf Goodman as the highest, or designer, let's call it, Gucci, Prada, whatever, all the way down to H&M, Zara, or secondhand shop. You will find this stuff. So that's all that means. And last on my list is menswear inspired pieces. So by that, I mean the fabric, also love. So blazers, trousers done in like a Glen plaid or a houndstooth or anything that looks like a men's suit. Done tweed. In tweed, done for women in whatever, skirt, top, trousers. I can't say how much I love this. I mean, for me, this is always in. This is never out. And I just think the more options you have, love to mix it. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll add a little leather in there, honey.
You really could mix. I love the juxtaposition between masculine and feminine. It's probably one of my favorite ways to dress. A good example of that is Ralph Lauren. It's killing it right now.
Yeah.
I just previewed their pre-fall. That makes.
She was live, darling. She was live.
I was live. And it was all that, and my eyes were like humongous. I mean, I couldn't get enough of it. And I said to the sales contact that I have, I said, "You must call me when this, and this comes in," because of course I watched the runway show of all this stuff months ago, so I knew the pieces that I liked. Already have it bookmarked in my phone and have it in a folder. And it's all about this like black and white houndstooth, almost Great Gatsby looking, but done in a modern way. So women's suits done in these fabulous checks and houndstooth and Glen plaid that I love. Done with a really like feminine blouse or a really beautiful sexy heel or a glamorous little patent leather bag or clutch. Love, right?
I love a suit on a woman. It's one of my favorite things. That and a backless dress. I mean, I love it. I don't know. There's something about it that's so powerful and commanding and chic. Always chic.
Always chic. Yeah, I would agree. Those are probably two of my favorite silhouettes as well. There's it looks powerful, and there's so many ways you can go with a suit on a woman. And I want to say this: it needs to be tailored. That's the key, right?
Yes,
you would agree.
Yes,
you would agree.
Yes,
It needs to be tailored, because if you don't tailor it, I mean, that's the difference. If you say, well, it's a men's suit on a woman, well, it's men's inspired on a woman, but it's got to be tailored pieces. I think that's the important part.
Yes. You got to wear it. It can't wear you.
Exactly. You have anything else that you're noticing this summer? Trends that you're loving? Anything you want to?
No, I think you literally like ticked off everything I was thinking of. Let me see.
What's your favorite color wearing right now?
Okay, so I'm loving hot pink.
Yes.
And of course, green. I mean, that's just that's my favorite, and red is also my favorite. But I don't wear them together unless it's Gucci or Christmas time. So it's green right now and probably pink.
Or it's a Gucci Christmas.
Yeah, it's a Gucci Christmas, baby. Oh my gosh.
So, but how would you, if you were styling someone, guy or girl, whatever age you want, how would someone comes in and says, Cole, style me in this bright bubblegum pink, because that's the pink that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. How would you style someone? Because I feel like you're going to wear it differently because you're an artist and you're going to rock it. But how would you style it? Let's say I came in and I said, how would you style me in this color pink? Would you put me head to toe? Would you break it up?
Knowing your vibe, and if we were to meet again, I would be like, she could go there. But if I'm going to pause the brakes a bit, maybe let's just do a high-waisted pant because I know that you look good in that. Yeah, and maybe just a hot pink blouse of some sort, either tucked in or French tucked. Let's just start there, and then we can build on that. Like, let's just do a little bit. I mean, it could be something like that. But I could see you in a hot pink little dress too. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah.
All day long, yeah. I have to say, hot pink, I love wearing it with navy. Love.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, it looks really pretty. You know why? Because I don't love black with bright colors. Always. Sometimes I do. But it often tends to be too much, like too stark. Stark, is that the word I want? Yeah. I don't like black with, let's say, bright yellow. Sometimes it's like too harsh. I like it with a navy or a dark brown or a dark
gray or something.
Gray, yeah. Okay. Or a dark blue with the really, really bright colors I'm talking about. Okay. I like it with that. Like better than with black. It just feels a little too harsh. It feels a little bit softer, but still a good contrast between those two colors.
No. That's a good point. That is a very good point. You're right. I see this.
All right. Well, and you know what else I was thinking about as I was kind of writing these notes, I was thinking about color and, moving into the fall and what's up and coming, and thinking about, I thought about this too, because I was getting ready. It was also while I was doing this, I'm always doing 5 things at once. I was kind of getting ready for an upcoming trip. And the trip is going to be on the West Coast. And I thought about how I pack when I'm going to the West Coast. Obviously, weather is the number one thing, because especially us as East Coasters, I think we all, dress according to the weather. Probably the biggest difference from LA and New York. Yes. But I wanted to ask your opinion of this, because you lived in LA for quite some time. You now live in New York City for quite some time. What do you think the biggest difference in terms of color? What is the biggest difference between the way people dress in LA and the way people dress in New York City with color? Because I don't believe that all New Yorkers just wear black. I know that's kind of a thing and people think that, and there's some truth to it. There is, for sure. But what do you think about that? Do you think it's the weather, or do you think it's something else?
I think it's the weather. I think it's the vibe. The weather, the vibe influences each other. I think it's more earthy. I think it's beiges and whites and jeans and oceanic and just nonchalant. And then I think you have New York, which the rep is that almost everybody wears black, probably because they're always on the go. And if something gets on them, that it's easy to clean off, right? And it's a dirty city. It can be.
But are these dirty people we're talking
dirty
about?
Dirty people. The subway, darling.
The subway. Yes. Dirty. That's why I avoid it. I'm sorry, I can't.
I think that there's a level of confidence or willing to go there that's in New York, and they access this wheelhouse of a cornucopia of all these things. And they just go there. I don't know what it is. It's the vibe. It's the energy. It's the mentality. And I think you're onto something. It might be like the weather that influences it, Okay. LA is always like usually warm and nice.
Sunny. Yeah.
And in New York, it fluctuates. And then we have the power to layer, which is my favorite thing.
Yes.
And I don't know.
But I would agree. I was going to speak to piggyback on your point about the weather and layering. We have the luxury of 4 seasons.
Yes.
And I always say that. I'm so grateful. At one point in my life, I hated it. I just wanted to live in somewhere warm, and that was it. Now I've circled back and I'm like, no. I love this. Okay, I don't like the doldrums of January when it's gray and frigid and you just need to stay in your house under, in a robe. Or the swampy, sweaty summer months that we have. Or usually it's like a couple of weeks where it's crazy, crazy hot. But other than those short blips of time, I really love dressing for 4 different seasons. Today I got up and I was like, I kind of want to dress fall-like. I know it's the middle of June. I'm not, or the middle of July and, middle of summer. I know I'm not trying to rush it, but I like the fact that we have options. People like you and I that are creative and that are in the business. And I think anyone even that's not. It's fun to put on a chunky sweater and tights and a skirt. It's fun to then have a little strapless gown, or strapless dress, summer floaty dress, or even just a pair of shorts and a tee. And then the opposite, layering with a big puffer coat and scarf and mittens. I love that. I feel like, because for me, I become a character when I get dressed. So it's like, right? Yes. What character am I going to be? So I think if you approach it that way, you know. All right. Well, that'll pretty much do it for this week's show. And thank you, Cole, for joining me.
Thank you so much. I had a blast.
Yes, and you're going to be back.
Yes.
So Cole will be my sidekick and my co-host quite a bit. So stay tuned. Thanks for listening. And once again, let's give out your Instagram handle and mine as well. Yours is?
Curated by Coley. So Curated by Coley.
Perfect. That's on Instagram. And mine is Wardrobe Envy. So wardrobe_envy, ENVY. You can check us both out there. You'll see all the fun outfits that we wear. We post things that we're doing, and it's all fashion content. It's all fashion related. And a little bit of lifestyle in there too. When we go to fabulous events or restaurants and that kind of stuff, we usually both post about it. So be sure and follow us both. And be sure to come back and listen to more of the Fashion Department. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me in the Fashion Department. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. For more inspiration and fashion content, check out my website and follow along on Instagram at wardrobe_envy. And a special thanks to the Factory Underground Studio for recording and producing this show. See you next time.